got a special session lined up today. In fact, you may remember one of the participants from last year on a session about folklore and the mythology of sauna, which she presented with Frank Eld. Well, she's back by popular demand, and this time with one of her colleagues from Finland to talk about the power, the culture, and the traditional practices of whisking or using the Vihta or vasta. I'm thrilled to introduce you to our two panelists, Dalva Lamminmäki and Maaria Alén. Dalva is a folklorist and conducting doctoral research as a grant researcher at the University of Eastern Finland on Finland's sauna culture and the sauna healing tradition as a living cultural heritage, a real expert in her field. Maaria Alén is the founder and developer of the Association of Traditional Sauna Healers and their training. She works as a lecturer at Salpaus Further Education, Travel and Tourism, and as a natural wellness instructor. So with that, let's get this wonderful session of sauna whisking going. And much more. So welcome, Dalva and Maaria. We're so glad that you're here, and we look forward to what we'll learn today. Take it away.
Thank you so much for this nice introduction, and let's share our presentation.
Welcome on my behalf as well. Good morning, good evening, and everything in between. Sanervatar sauna pika, sanervatar sauna pika. Ootkos löylyssä asuva, ootkos löylyssä asuva. Tuoppa vihtaa tullessasi, tuoppa vihtaa tullessasi. Lehti hieno helmassasi, lehti hieno helmassasi. Hauossi mahinen vasta, hauossi mahinen vasta. Saatalatva lauhuttelee, saatalatva lauhuttelee. Jolla kylven kylvettelet, jolla kylven kylvettelet. Näien luonnon lohuttelet, näien luonnon lohuttelet. Nämä pulmat purkamaahan, nämä pulmat purkamaahan. Nämä huolet halkomaahan, nämä huolet halkomaahan. Nämä tauit taittamaahan, nämä tauit taittamaahan. Nämä vuoret voittamaahan, nämä vuoret voittamaan. Our theme today is the power of sauna, Vihta, and Löyly. So we thought it would be appropriate, and we would like to begin our presentation with a traditional greeting of Löyly, call for the spirit of Löyly and the guardian of the Vihtas, to strengthen them and their healing powers. So this spells and poems were collected from our old ruins, Finnish traditional spells. And here you have some sort of a translation of those lyrics.
Yeah, thank you, Maaria. And it's a good translation, and of course, because like Tommy was saying, that today is a special language day, and so we want to also remind that these magical words of Löyly, Vihta, and vasta. And little bit about us. why we are here and why we are here together. So Tommi was already doing some introduction, but I'm Dalva Lamminmäki, and yes, I'm doing my PhD about the sauna culture. And also I'm a member of the sauna route that Alén was talking about yesterday. So we are building this kind of like cultural route of saunas in Finland. And then also, this is a great place to remind that I'm visiting Canada this spring and summer. So please do contact me if you are in Vancouver, Ottawa, or Toronto. So I'm happy to have these new contacts. But I choose the picture of me and Maaria in the middle, where we are actually in Kuusamo in this kind of like really special event that I was organizing. It was called Folk Healers Gathering. And this was 2016. And I think there was these gatherings maybe 4 years in a row, I think. And this was also for me as a researcher, the place where my interest to research, especially sauna, actually it started. And it started in the sauna with Maaria, when Maaria was doing this kind of like demo sessions. You were like showing people a little bit about the whisking and the healing whisking, and I was there just like amazed. I was in the sauna. I didn't actually know what was happening, and that's why I do my research, because I'm still so passionate to understand, especially the whisking that Vihtominen that we're going to talk more today. And Maaria.
Yes, I'm all of those things that Tommi told you in the introduction. I have worked in sauna and done sauna practice, these kind of sauna programs and folk healing sessions, good 10 years now. And I'm one of the founding members of the Association of the Traditional Sauna Healers. So I'll tell you a little bit later about them and the training as well. But it's really wonderful to see how many of you are here to learn more about the folklore and the intangible sauna culture, Finnish sauna culture.
So let's get to it.
Let's get to it.
So here is the first one. Why is it important?
Yeah. These are some ideas or thoughts about why is it important to learn and know more about the Finnish sauna culture, and so many of you are here, which is really, really nice. One aspect is that it helps to understand who we are as people, because we have this practice of going to sauna and doing these sauna rituals that dates back hundreds and maybe even thousands of years. So it's really about our mindset as a people, and also it's really important part of our cultural identity. So I think it's really wonderful to think that when we are taking saunas, we are part of the chain of generations and generations going back, and we can feel the length of the roots when we are in sauna.
And from that also, like we went to the UNESCO list. So congrats to everybody about that. And also Maaria, thank you for your work, because you were a big part also in that work to get to the UNESCO list in 2020. So it's all 5 years ago at the moment. But what does it actually mean that it's intangible culture? I have been doing a little research about it, and I did write an article about it, and it will be coming out around in September. So then you can read more what I think about it. But it's this songs also. There is, like you were singing, there is songs. It's oral knowledge. It's text. It's in our behavior. It's in our circle of the year, in our weekly routines. So that is what it actually means. That's like we have this, like Saija was saying yesterday, that people in Finland mostly we have this one sauna day that is Saturday. And for me, it's Wednesday, but it's Karelian tradition to have it on Wednesday, and that's why I go at Wednesday. So it's this kind of cultural things that we do. But then I have the picture that that the use of Vihta is prohibited. So this is something I also want to bring in the discussion, that that when we are talking about these cultural representations, and we always talk about the Vihta and doing vihtominen, using the Vihta. But in Finland, actually, in swimming holes and many public saunas, you cannot do that. But of course, people have lots of like summer cabins and their own saunas in their own houses, so people do enjoy it. But there is some worries about that this kind of tradition, that it's not kind of like dying, but in some point it wasn't very popular. But the work of also Maaria doing this sauna training is that keeping it alive and bringing it back. So that is
I
a
think,
little bit,
yeah. And when you think about why sauna is so well, it's in our culture and it's part of our cultural identity, and it dates back so far away in the history. What has made it so strong is maybe that it has always been very flexible and adaptive. It has changed during times when people's lifestyles changes. The sauna evolved and adapted to the new lifestyle, and sometimes some aspects may have even disappeared, but many aspects are like they were not very popular. And for example, the folk healing side of our sauna traditions, as well as the myths and the spiritual parts of the sauna, were not very popular when Finland started urbanization after the Second World War. But again, these days, people are eager to learn more and more about those things. So there are so much to learn about our traditions and our sauna culture, even for Finns, I would say, especially this folk healing part, which is often a little bit forgotten in the discussion of the sauna culture.
And like we did list these all nice things, so I want to just pick up like there this also the understanding that this Baltic Finnic folk healing traditions, that we are actually a big circle of different kind of culture and coming together with sauna and whisking, using the vihtominen. So that is also something that I cherish as an idea, that we have this kind of like amazing, big, really big community of people with different kind of cultural and languages and
then one reason why we established this association is that sauna is really trending. How many are we here? But sauna is really trending, 156 at the moment. And sauna is linked to Finland because of the word sauna and many reasons. But anyways, people are coming to sauna for health reasons and wellness reasons, and I think it's really important for people to be aware of these benefits, but also the risks that come with the sauna going. There are some misconceptions about Finnish sauna culture, and there are cultures where sauna is not particularly well known. So that's one reason why it's a good idea to learn about the sauna culture. For example, well, nudity is one thing that often is kind of misconceptions about that. But another thing is that, for example, that sauna is forbidden for children or people who are pregnant, for example. So these prohibitions are often not based on actual facts.
Yeah. But let's continue, and we have so many topics to cover. So and we are getting back to this, and but now we have been many times now talking about the traditional healing and the association of traditional healers. So if you shortly would do some kind of introduction of the association.
Yes, in few words. The association was established in 2020, so the same year when Finnish sauna culture was chosen to be in the UNESCO's list of intangible culture. We are a group of enthusiastic sauna lovers and lovers of Finnish sauna culture, and we come from various backgrounds. So there are people who are artists, so there is this arts and crafts background. There are people with medical and healthcare background, nature, environmental background, folkloristic background, travel and tourism like tour guides or tourist entrepreneurs, and then holistic health and complementary medicine, of course, is also. Today we are about 50, including the students. Most of us live in Finland, but there are two sauna healers who live in Sweden and one in Tasmania, Australia, and then we have also in UK a person who has studied our training. And we try to bring in more the spiritual side of sauna traditions, and we like to revive the old folk healing traditions. And this is maybe what is different to other sauna associations, and we are all practicing sauna professionals. That's short.
Finland. And Finland is just an amazing place to do this kind of work, because we have the world's biggest archive of folklore. So the amount of the material we have and information about sauna, like even just amount of books, but sadly written in Finnish, it's huge. And then the archive, all the even like spells and the collected information about the folk healing practices, the amount of that is huge. But also that's why we do this work. We speak in English, and we try to provide this information also to non-Finnish speakers, because it's important to share this sauna culture that we're all very into. And now about a little bit about those archives and the old oral knowledge and the sauna wisdom. So partly it sounds a little bit funny that you can find this important information in this kind of like riddles that can be even humorous. They can be really funny, and but when you start to peel them, like look really into them, what kind of information some like riddle can hold, you really find this old knowledge and in there. And this is partly why the sauna culture is in UNESCO, because we share and keep and hold into this knowledge. And like there is this kind of list of, it can be in poems or prayers, chants, songs, and just by talking And that is also what we're doing now. We're sharing the knowledge, and in this way keeping it also alive. It's really good to remember how practical it is. But I have picked some examples here, and especially when it comes to Vihta. Vihdaksia ei saa ottaa vuoren pohjoispuolella kasvavasta puusta. So there is this kind of like belief that you cannot, what can you do and what you cannot do. Sometimes it has to do with weather, sometimes it has to do with place or time of the year, or so there is this kind of information. And then there is vanhoja vihtoja ei saa jättää ihmisten näkyville. Ne on poltettava saunanpesässä. So you need to burn the old vihta in the sauna stove. And if we think why, so what do you think, Maaria?
Why? Well, Vihta is a magical tool, and when you, like the old folk believed, it's a magical tool, and when you use it, it takes your essence, the essence of a person. So it can be used for all kinds of, whether it's good intentions or bad intentions, but it can be used in magical ways. So that's how the old folk believed. That's what I think. Am I right?
Yeah, and also like being practical again, like Finns do, hygiene. Like really just basically also the hygiene, that fear of that you don't get any diseases, but mostly I think it's that kind of belief that there is other person's sweat in it and energy, and that's kind of like you were just saying. So I think so too. And
yeah. Sweat
then
is like
there
sweat is like blood.
Yeah. And juhannusaattoiltana tehtiin uusi vihta. Kun sillä oli vihdottu, heitettiin se jalkojen välistä saunan katolle. Minne päin sen tyvi meni, siellä oli tuleva puoliso. So vihta, I have been saying it's this kind of like, what you call it? Mikä se on se taikakeppi? This kind of like magic...
Wand.
Wand. Yeah, that's kind of like magic wand. So I sometimes feel that Vihta is like that, and because they were doing like taking omens with Vihta, and especially this Juhannus, that is the midsummer festival, and it's the time of love. So then it was really important to ask about the spores. And then also one last one about the löyly, mikä polttaa ilman tulta. So there is like, when the answer is löyly, steam. So if it's really burning, it's so called like kova löyly. It's really hard. It's burning, and people like different kind of saunas and temperatures and sweats, and I'm one of those who really like it's burning kind of like hot, really hot for a few seconds, and then I can go out and I can repeat that. What kind of like löyly, Maaria, you prefer?
Well, I prefer the middle part, like I don't know what it's in Fahrenheit, but it's in Celsius centigrade, something like 75. I like when the löyly a little bit bites, but I like it to be very. I like the löyly to take me into their arms and caress me softly.
Oh, that sounds so beautiful.
Especially when I'm working.
And the last about this is that there is this magazine. Actually, it's Kotiliesi, and Kotiliesi is really this kind of magazine that has been like in Finland for many years. So this is from 1943, and just showing how to do Vihta or luuta. What is luuta? It's brushing, how you brush the floors. Okay, let's continue.
Let's continue.
Yeah, and now we go into that Löyly.
Yes. I assume many of you know a little bit about the Löyly, that it's much more than just the steam, the physical steam. It is the soul and the spirit of the sauna. And I often think about why I've heard many times that people say that in Finnish sauna you don't pour water to the stones. And I've been thinking about why is that, and I'm not sure, but my conclusion is that so often in other countries it is forbidden to pour water to the stone, to the stove, to the stones, and to create the Löyly. But it is essential part of an inseparable part of the sauna experience. And if there is no Löyly, it's not a real sauna. And the Löyly really makes or breaks it for the sauna, whether it's a good or not. So I think Löyly is the most important element, actually. What do you think, Dalva?
Yeah, and how it's like there is said like how old word is it? So I think that actually like highlights how important it is that it means soul, actually.
Yeah.
So that is something.
True. And it is the healer. Yeah, it is the healer. Löyly is the healer of the sauna. It holds the power of sauna. It's in the Löyly. And when we are called the traditional sauna healers, it's a little bit, the term is a little bit off because it's not good translation from Finnish. In Finnish, we are called perinnesaunottajat. And we are not the healers. We are facilitating in the sauna when we are doing the vihtominen or any of these programs. And the actual healer is the Löyly. Right.
Yeah, it's like that, and maybe next time when people go to sauna, you can just go and think about it a little bit more, like how you feel it is and what is actually happening, and even thinking sometimes Löyly as a kind of like a person touching you almost. It can feel like it's taking care of you and healing you. And in Kalevala there is a little part of poem 45, runo 5.5. So I'm going to speak that now in Finnish, and it's actually there you can see the English translation. So the Väinämöinen fires up the healing sauna and calls help and inviting Ukko, the god of weather and sky, to take a sauna with him and to save the people of Kalevala from the suffering and disaster that comes from north, and it comes from the mistress of north, Louhi, that was sending the diseases that are Louhi's children. And so this is our point, that even in old poems and in Kalevala, it's laid the foundation for sauna as a symbol of the cultural identity. Tule nyt löylyhyn Jumala, iso ilman lämpimähän, tekemähän terveyttä, rauhoa rakentamahan. Pyyhi pois pyhät kipunat, pyhät saastat sammuttele, lyötä maahan liika löyly, paha löyly, pois lähetä, ettei polta poikiasi turmele tekemiäsi. And this is when you can use these kind of words, it's even like I can feel it how it would be in sauna when you are pouring the water and the löyly comes.
Yes, we often use this poem as kind of these sauna ceremonies. We often sing this this particular poem because it's the healing sauna of the Kalevala. It's the first sauna that Väinämöinen is heating or yeah. Okay.
And a little bit more about the I just did select some points to that we were talking how Löyly and is that kind of like old word, and also the Vihta and Löyly, both they are this kind of like cultural symbols. But to take a little bit like older examples and the newer one, so there is the Akseli Kallenkallela, the painting that is actually from the poem 4 that is about the Aino that Aino was in the forest and doing Vihta for her family when she did meet Väinämöinen, and then Väinämöinen was very interested about Aino and wanted to have Aino as his wife, and that story didn't go well. But there is this kind of like painting, and we can see lots of this kind of presentation in paintings and music theater, street, even like street names and place names. And then I love this. We have this kind of miniature statues and things. I even have something I just did find this kind of like thing that is saying that how to do Vihta. It's just small kind of ceramic. And what else I have here, like this, we have like little items many times that has to do something with sauna, and it's nice to collect them on the flea markets. So, but the Vihta symbolizes so much for us, and it's of course the act of doing the vihtominen, the steam bathing, but also it's because of the birch tree that is our national tree. It's important. The color of white, it's the color of winter and this kind of like clear air and purification. And then I love the emojis, those like there was this person in steam room emoji. And Maaria, you were saying there was this the sauna emoji. It was made by, was it Visit Finland?
Was it Visit Finland? Some institution in Finland, anyways, and it has been several years. This kind of emoji, yeah, Finnish sauna.
So we even have the emoji for sauna, so that tells quite much about us. But so you can find this kind of like Vihta and sauna in many places, and people who have been visiting, maybe traveling to Finland, they know that we love the Vihta. And so here is a lovely picture. Tell me, Maaria, more about the picture and these gentle, caring arms of the forest.
Yes. So we have many names for the Vihta, and for example, Vihta, Vasta, Satalatva, and also one thing one could call it is Metsän lempeä syli, caring arms of the forest. So it shows us how important Vihta is. In this picture, there is a colleague of mine, Sonja, from Koli, North Karelia, and she is relaxing in the sauna. She is having, I think it's a Vihta made of mountain ash on her head. It's really the crown of 100 tree tops. And but the idea is that you can really make the Vihta pretty much any tree, any type of tree or any type of plant that you like, unless it's poisonous. So excluding poisonous plants, obviously. And there are exceptions to that rule in Finland, but in general, of course, we don't use poisonous plants. And we need to have the permission to collect those branches also. As Dalva mentioned, birch is the most common Vihta material, probably because it's so widely spread in our country. So it's accessible. You can find birch everywhere, and it's also very good for cleaning skin. So it has these soap-like qualities. But you can also find like documents about other plants, other trees that has been used. So oak, juniper, alder, mountain ash, all of those have been used. Oak is a really, really good Vihta material. It's very durable. It's good to use in high temperatures. It has this symbol, like it symbolizes the world tree often. So there's this mythological aspect to it as well. Then juniper. I love juniper. If you have a possibility to try juniper with Vihta, please try it. It has wonderful aromatic effects, and it's also kind of a symbol for tenacity of our people, the Finns or the Finnic people. Alder, if birch is the most commonly used Vihta, it's so common that it was never used as a magical Vihta. But alder is the magical Vihta of all. It really symbolizes the whole forest, and it was used especially in this kind of sauna rituals. And so was also mountain ash, which is sacred to Finnic people. And vihtominen, vastominen, depending on whether you live in the western side or the eastern side of Finland, it's an ancient practice, and you can do it either to yourself or then in folk healing, the folk healer used the vihtas in the healing procedure. And what it's used for, here are some most common effects of Vihta. First, it cleans the skin, obviously. Then it massages the lymphatic system, your muscles and capillaries. So it's really good for the immune system and lymphatic flow. And of course, all the plants have scent oils, or how do you say it? But it's aromatherapeutical effects, especially these coniferous trees. And then in folk healing, vihtas were used for overall healing. And as I mentioned earlier, also this kind of magical ritualistic use was very common in Finland.
Yeah. And it's like you said, and it's mostly when like in archives where I've been reading spells, healing spells, it's many times the alder. So that is like what you see, that using the alder in sauna. But also like let's see what kind of like tips there could be that using Vihta, because it's not only this kind of like archives or that you need there that you need to buy this kind of like service, but what actually can person do? I know when I'm I sometimes put these kind of like birch leaves into this little I use it for tea, where you can like lose tea back, and I put in the back some birch leaves, and then I put it into the water to get the smell. So this is like one of these little things you can do. But then there is some other tips that you were saying that you could share, like what person can do at home.
Yeah, very simple ways. I think the simpler the better. You don't have to do any kind of
Maaria,
Sorry, yeah, I noticed that I had muted myself. So yeah, these are very simple ways of using, so it's not too difficult to try. So first of all, you can combine the Vihta with several plants, not just trees, but you can use maybe some herbs like mint, rosemary, blackcurrant. You can mix those with the tree branches to create this wonderful aromatic effect. And you can press them against your face and really breathe in. And you can maybe stop to feel what plants do you kind of like, what is calling you? Just stop and think about, or try to feel, what plants am I thinking and feeling, and those are the ones that are calling for you, and use those. Then of course when we want to and try to carry on this practice and these traditions to the next generations, so it's easy to make children interested in vihtominen when you make a small vihta for the like the right size of vihta for the child. And in these pictures, there's my son. In this black and white picture, he's in the sauna with me and my mother. So we are 3 generations there, and he's doing the vihta, and he's always teaching me how to do it. He's like, "Mommy, I'll show you how it's done." So when he was little, not anymore. And another tip is that whenever you are making a vihta or handling a vihta, there's always some leaves that fall off. So instead of putting them to garbage, you can use them, like Dalva said, that you can make these kind of tea bag style pouches or little bags, and you can soak them in water to make a really nice Löyly water, or you can rinse your hair or your body afterwards, after you have washed yourself. And you can also make foot baths. It's really nice scent. And one tip is that never put essential oils to the kiuas, to the stones. If you want to create some lovely scents, it's a good idea to use these leaves. And then, yeah, one tip is also that it's not necessary to hit hard with the vihta. So vihtominen, the whisking, it's not supposed to hurt. So it is a gentle, relaxing massage for your skin and your body. So you can really gently use the vihta. And work together with the löyly. So if you have sore muscles, like many of us who sit on a computer all day long, we have really sore muscles, especially here in shoulder area. So you can take the vihta, you can pour some water to the stones, so you get the nice löyly. You lift the vihta up and collect the heat inside the vihta, and then you press it against your skin. And those are my little tips here.
And also because the vihta was used for washing, for really like cleaning, like washing, to scrub the skin. So I think that is one of my favorite things, to add a little bit soap and then really take the vihta and with that like use it. So it scrubs your skin, and then it's the amazing smell that comes from that. And especially in the winter, it's so lovely when you have this summer and spring coming back to you. Yes. But let's see what is, we still have a little bit to go, and this was actually a good talk to go through the final slides. We have just few more left to go. And talking about this circle of the year and what it means when you are doing the sauna and how important part the sauna has been. And this kind of like, I love this idea of like Vihta is an honored guest. It's one of the guests in the sauna, and these seasonal rites of passages, and that the sauna is the ritualistic center for families and communities. And Maaria, like you were saying, that you were with there was your son and you and your mother.
And my mom. Yeah.
Mm.
I think many people are afraid of the word ritual. I don't know, but I have this gut feeling. And when you come to think about what the ritual actually means in folklore, it means social behavior. I have written it down here. Social behavior of people who act in a certain way in special places, occasions, and times. So if you think about that definition of the word ritual, what else is our weekly Saturday sauna? It's a nationwide ritual, what we do. And in Karelian tradition, it's the little lauantai, little Saturday, the Wednesday, when you do that. So even today we have these rituals, and so we have carried on these different kinds of traditions from way back, and it doesn't have to be anything really big and pompous. It can be something very natural, very organic, and something that respects the spirit of the sauna itself and what feels natural to you. So we have a couple of examples here, 3 different annual festivities that sauna played an important role, and also Vihta. So the first one is Joulu, aka Christmas, and traditionally people went to the sauna during daylight. So that was very important, because after the sun had set, it was the time for the ancestors and the spirits to come and even go to the sauna. So living folk went to during daylight. Another aspect of the Joulu traditions is that it was time for look for the signs of the forthcoming year, and especially make sure that the weather was fine, because it was an agricultural society and people needed to have their barley growing. So they poured beer, olut, to the stones to make sure that the barley was growing well next year. And birch vihta was used. So it was usually made during Juhannus, midsummer, which is the best time of making vihtas. And it was dried, and then a fresh, new dried vihta was then introduced in the Joulu sauna, in the Christmas sauna. And then we had other kind of decoration as well. Yeah.
And also, like, there is this really old postcard about the Christmas sauna in the picture, and there is of course the sauna tonttu and taking sauna. And then to continue with these other yearly big festivals, that was the Juhannus, that is in June, and of course there is this we say yöttömät yötte, nightless night, because the sun is not setting, so it's very light outside. And it's the opposite of the Joulu. And as I was saying before, that it's the time of like taking care of the fertility and the love. So the vasta is this kind of like vihta, vasta love. It's the lempi. And the prosperity.
Yeah, it is the magical tool with which you take the fertility and the good everything that is good in the nature, and you pour it on yourself with the Vihta. So it's very, very good, and it is a magical practice, which we still do.
Yeah. And the flowers, so there is also these flowers that has and because it's the nightless night, and then it's magical because the sun is there in the middle of the night, and all these plants are taking this kind of like magical light into it themselves, and then when you are putting them into sauna, you're like taking part of the power and magic of that kind of nights to yourself.
Yeah.
But also, yeah.
I was just about to say that all these annual kind of calendar rite saunas, they have a special momentum in the calendar in the year, wheel of the year. So whether it's Christmas or midsummer or Kekri, which is then which was originally the end of the agricultural year, and it used to be in the agrarian culture. It was the most important calendar rite. It is kind of I often say that it's like a cousin of Halloween or Dia de los Muertos, the Mexican festivities. It's a combination of harvest festival and commemoration of the beloved dead, your ancestors. And there is a harvest feast, and there's also the sauna, the Kekri sauna. So traditionally it was so that when the living were eating, the ancestors were having their own sauna shift, and then they switched. So the people went to the sauna and the ancestors came to feast, the harvest feast. And often coniferous trees were used in this Kekri sauna to decorate the sauna and also as vihtas.
And now, for the last thing to say before we would like to hear, we're running out of the time because we want to have time for some questions. I think maybe if somebody has something to ask, is to maybe the point that is here, that the offering the sauna is part of this Finnish hospitality. That is like the core of and also to offer to Vihtoa, to the other person, when you have your family or friend with you in the sauna and you ask like, can I wash your back? It really means that, can I take care of you, and taking care of other person's health and well-being. That is why when the Finn is inviting you into sauna, that is caring.
Yeah. Lastly, we have one slide that shows about the basic training of the traditional sauna healers. And if I just try to summarize it very quickly, we try to cover the various aspects of our sauna culture, which are very wide. So we have the spiritual side of the sauna, so the old world view and the sauna rituals and songs and spells and this kind of thing. Then we have the folk healing aspect of the sauna, so these treatments, and then we have the sauna services, how to produce them safely and sustainably, etc. And there is this kind of online and practical side. So this is what it's like, what it includes, and if anybody's interested, you can contact us, and we are maybe doing something online in English in the future. Okay, now we can take in some questions.
And thank you, and I stop sharing and
Yes, thank you so much, Dalva and Maaria, for this fantastic presentation about Vihta and Vasta. I think we got a real education about sort of the cultural meaning of it, and also the work you're doing to sort of also educate people about that. One interesting question that came in the chat is, I plan to be in Finland this summer. How can I arrange to have a healing sauna? That might be a relevant one. Can you talk about connecting people if they want to actually take part in this in Finland, Maaria or Dalva?
I actually can write down to the chat the name of the website of our sauna healers, so you can directly contact somebody who might be in the area where you are staying. But very good place is Jämsä Saunakylä, the sauna village of Jämsä. We are there always during the sauna day, which is the second Saturday of June. So if you happen to be there, then we will be there. But I'll write down the.
Fantastic. Yes, and we of course had Saija Silen in here yesterday to talk about, and she mentioned quite a bit about Saunakylä, Sauna Village, Jämsä. So that information can be found on our website as well. And Maaria just put in the chat too. Oh, that just went to host and panelist. If you could put it in there again to everyone, then it'll go good.
Yeah.
Maybe we have time for, there's a lot of questions, but one that did come up several times is, of course, you have the birch that you use usually for the vasta, Vihta. Can you do it with other, like there's some questions about hanging lavender, mint, jasmine, or juniper, and how the treating is different of maybe juniper than a broad-leafed version that you would be using. So you have any comments on that? That came up a couple times in the chat.
So sorry, was it like how to use juniper Vihta?
Yeah, or is there a different, is there a different way of treating them before use?
Yeah. Juniper, because it has needles, you need to soften the needles. So soak it in hot water as much time as you have, maybe 30 minutes up to 1 hour. So it will be much softer. And you just very gently touch your skin, not like hitting hard, but very gently. And then you can, if you lay down on the benches, you can put the juniper Vihta on your chest, and you can breathe in the aromatic oils there. So if you have some allergies, hearts, I'm not sure if how to say it in English, hartsiallergia in Finnish, that is usually when you are not, it's not advisable to use juniper or spruce or pine. You can basically use all of those if you are not allergic. But yeah, soak it in hot water, then it's nicer, and don't hit hard. Or you can hit hard, and that's the first and the last time you use the Vihta. Usually. And then, of course, you can put lavender or these kind of herbs that smell really nice. But please remember that if you put too much, they might cause you a headache. So just a little bit, just a little goes far.
Yeah, the rule of moderation, right, I think applies as well in this. We're sort of out of time, but people have so many good questions. I'll pick one more out of here because this one came up a couple times after you mentioned it too, about essential oils. Of course, there are a lot of places, not only in the US, but probably in these more sort of public business sauna settings where they do use essential oils or other fragrances on the kiuas. So can you maybe briefly talk again about what your comment was about with the essential?
Well, there are at least two points of view I can point out. One is that whenever you put oil on the stones, they affect the stones. So the kiuas stones are harmed with the oils because they burn to the stone, and you like shorten their lifespan, if that makes sense. And another thing is that if you put essential oils to these really, really hot stones, it burns to them. And I don't know if it's a actually really nice smell. Some people like it, but there might be some little bit of like a burning sensation as well. But mostly I want to point out that as a respect to the altar that the kiuas, the stove is, it affects the stones.
Mm.
Mm.
Yeah, no, that does make sense. People don't think of the whole thing, the components of the kiuas. Of course, the stones themselves have a lifespan, and of course have, can be damaged or worn out, and that of course speeds that up. Interesting. We get a lot of comments. No oils needed. Enjoy all natural scents. Of course, if you have a Vihta, vasta, you sort of can take care of that. And if you have then tar soap or something at the end, of course, you get all of the scents and smells. But I think we may have to end it here. We're over time, but please get in touch with us if you want to be in touch with Dalva and Maaria. We can definitely connect you. You can find them online as well, and we encourage you to be in touch. So kiitos Dalva and Maaria for being here. This was really informative. And now we have, of course, our everyday ritual, our own ritual, right, Maaria? Not to avoid the word ritual, of a raffle. So Minea is going to bring that up before we have our conversation with our singer-songwriters. Let's see if we can pick a winner, Minea.
All right, we're raffling for a gift card from Northwind Books, our bookstore in Hancock at the Finnish American Heritage Center there. I put the link in shop.finlandiafoundation.org. You can also I think you can even get a Vihta from them. They have a lot of sauna stuff too. So let's spin the wheel. Dun, 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 dun.
Present to win. Hopefully they're still here.
All right, Marjut Lohtari Kuklin. Are you here, Marjut?
Let's take a look here. Do we have Marjut?
Marjut. Yes, I see Marjut. Yay. Okay. Onnea. Congrats, and our office will be in touch with you.
Absolutely. And what's coming up tomorrow, Minea?
Oh my goodness. It's our final session. Can't believe it's already like the end of sauna week. We have Mikael Alén, and he'll be in conversation with Eero Kilpi. Mikael Alén, of course, has created the Perfect Sweat series, and he's the author of the book Sweat. He's a big name in the sauna bathing, sweat bathing world. And of course, we're giving away a sauna from Finleo, and I'll let Tommy talk about that. That's our biggest raffle, I think, ever.
Absolutely. We're so glad to have partnered with Finleo. Of course, be present to win, and you must have a US address for that to get sent to if you are in fact the winner. So join us tomorrow. You've got to be there. So don't miss out. With that, we're getting up to our maximum number of registrants for that session. I think we have 500 available seats, and we're up in 450 about. So register now. But now I want to turn the conversation to our Sauna Week song that FFN commissioned from two of our singer-songwriter connections. We have Ruth De Meo, who is the president of our Finlandia Foundation chapter in Baltimore, as well as Ida Metzberg, who was our 2023 FFN Performer of the Year. So she was on tour for Finlandia Foundation back in 2023. And we've commissioned this song for Sauna Week because of the beautiful artistry that these two have. I saw them one time perform together, actually, during Ida's Performer of the Year, and it just basically stole my heart. So I thought, I wonder if there could be a beautiful sauna song that comes out of this. So you've heard it a couple times, but so Ruth and Ida, I just want to ask you a little bit about where you drew the inspiration for this song. Many comments have been made about it, that it's beautiful and lovely, but the word sauna is not even in it. So can we start there, Ruth or Ida?
Ruth,
Yeah.
you go first.
Okay, I was literally gonna say, Ida, you go first. Yeah, well, we were so honored to be asked. First of all, it's an honor to be here as well, and what a wonderful presentation that was. I just love this folklore. Finnish folklore is one of my favorite things in the whole world. So I was so honored to ask, and Ida and I had a conversation about how we could kind of infuse the idea of the sauna with our own artistry. So it was a really interesting ask, and we decided to make a song that would be relatable to our personal music audiences as well. So we really wanted to make it approachable for people who've never experienced sauna, but do have a connection with our music, and then rope them in and bring them in to experience the Finnish traditions through our song. You want to add anything to that, Ida?
Yeah, I think we both being kind of very traditional singer-songwriters, and we've heard there's like last year I think we had a comedic sauna song which I loved, and there's certainly a place for that, but we were like kind of thinking, how can we dive more into like what it actually means, the whole tradition. And also we on purpose did not mention the word sauna in the song because I think for us it's such a it's such a given that growing up as a kid you had sauna every week, and it's such a part of our tradition. But there's so many different cultures in the world who have their own traditions, and maybe some have never even heard of a sauna, let alone have been to a sauna. And we wanted to make it relatable because every culture, everybody has their heritage and whatever their ancestors have been doing, and it's the thing that connects us all to our past. And for us it happens to be the sauna, but we also wanted to kind of make it inclusive so that you can relate it to whatever your heritage is.
Yeah, and those words, wisdom and fire, can mean other things in other cultures. So that's, yeah.
Well, it's so funny you mentioned that sauna. Many Finns wouldn't even recognize that maybe that's something special. They have it in their home. They do it every twice or three times a week. Our session with the Copper Country Finns said the same thing. In Michigan, people have saunas and they're so used to it, they didn't really think of it as a special thing until we pointed out that this is sort of a special traditional sauna thing. And I think your words, old wisdom, new fire, go back to exactly, I think Dalva may have said something very similar in the presentation today, that there is wisdom in older traditions, and it's about how can we find that for today. So whether that's sauna or another cultural tradition, right? I think you've made it a universal thing. But can you tell us about the process of actually recording this? I understand you did it in 24 hours or less, so you came together and made it happen. How was the process?
Yeah, we had quite a tight schedule. There was a lot of voice notes going back and forth in preparation, and then I traveled to Baltimore where we had 24 hours to get the song done. But everything was pretty much mapped out before.
Yeah, we're very Finnish, so we had everything planned out before we got together. We had a good running song track going. So by the time Ida got to my studio, we were able to just record her guitar and vocals and make any final adjustments to the lyrics. And I mean, 24 hours, I don't know. We laughed maybe 12 of those 24 hours. So I don't know if we actually did it in 24, but yeah, we had a lot of fun. It was so much fun. We felt very excited and privileged and, honored to be doing it the whole time. So I think I don't want to put you in a box, Ida, but I hope that this is the first of many collaborations. It was just so enjoyable.
Yeah, likewise. It was really, really fun, and I'm excited for more.
Yes, and like we were saying earlier, I look forward to seeing a live presentation, acoustic version with the two of you somewhere. And I have to say, Dalva actually made this recommendation in the chat in a previous session. She asked, are the lyrics available in Finnish? And I wondered, well, maybe for Mother Tongue Day, an International Mother Tongue Day, maybe that's a good goal, that soon the lyrics might be accompanying on our website or something in Finnish.
Yeah, give us 24 hours and we'll have it.
Or 12.
12 hours. That's all
We'll
you
work
need.
on it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you both for being here and for your beautiful artistry and your talent. And now we get to actually listen to that on the way out. So Minea is going to bring that up and we're going to watch the video that you compiled for that and go out to the sounds of old wisdom, new fire. Thank you for being here, everybody.
Thank you.
Slow down, steady the beat. Let your heart thaw out. Breathe out your sorrows and breathe in the peace. a sun. There's no doubt when the sun goes down. Sacred tradition with each generation, we pass it on. Old wisdom, new fire, takes us back right to the start, lifting us higher. Our stories rise like smoke in the sky. We make our ancestors proud every time we gather around. Old wisdom, new fire, to remember who we are. When the whole world is wrong, in here it's alright. Just as I am, I shed my disguise. I'm a child again, I'm reborn again, and all I need I find within. Old wisdom, new fire, takes us back right to the start, lifting us higher. Our stories rise like smoke in the sky. We make our ancestors proud every time we gather around. Old wisdom, new fire, to remember who we are. Feel the heat, let it come, let the temperature rise. Fan the flames, 'cause we're stronger than we know. Feel the beat of a heart lighting on fire. Fan the flames as they turn you into gold. Old wisdom, new fire, takes us back right to the start, lifting us higher.